A tech company employee quietly stole $6 million in criminal cash and vanished. Federal agents were 47 seconds too late, and what he left behind exposed a $500 million financial scheme hidden inside America's biggest online retailer. Watch until the end, because you'll see how one father outsmarted both a cartel and corrupt FBI agents. And the real reason he risked everything will leave you speechless. But this story didn't begin with millions vanishing. It began 8 weeks earlier, when Marcus stumbled on something buried deep inside his company's servers, evidence that would flip his world upside down and put everyone he loved in danger. Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss stories like this. Marcus Rivera spent 12 years building Riverside Tech's payment systems from the ground up. At 38, he was the invisible genius behind hundreds of millions in daily transactions. Former Army intelligence, divorced father of twin boys, living paycheck to paycheck on $95,000 a year while managing systems worth more than some countries' GDP. Nobody questioned Marcus. Why would they? He designed the algorithms that processed vendor payments. He built the security protocols. He personally coded the emergency overrides that could move millions with a few keystrokes. Riverside Tech trusted him completely because without Marcus Rivera, their entire financial infrastructure would collapse overnight. That trust would prove to be their biggest mistake. Marcus lived a quiet life in suburban Seattle. Every morning he dropped Diego and Carlos at elementary school, drive 30 minutes to the Riverside Tech Fulfillment Center, and disappear into the digital maze he'd created. His ex-wife Maria thought he was boring. His co-workers barely knew his name. But Marcus controlled more money in a single day than most people would see in a lifetime. He was the perfect inside man, and he didn't even know it yet. It started with routine server maintenance on a Tuesday night in July. Marcus was running diagnostics on the vendor payment system when something caught his eye. $47 million in payments to companies that didn't exist in the product database. What the hell? Marcus muttered, pulling up the transaction logs. Electronic Supplies International had received $12 million in the past month alone, but there were no product listings, no inventory records, no customer reviews, nothing. He cross-referenced the company name with Amazon's vendor database. Electronic Supplies International wasn't registered as a legitimate supplier. Neither were Pacific Trade Solutions, Global Tech Distribution, or 15 other companies that had collectively received tens of millions in payments. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. He ran a trace on the payment destinations. The money flowed through Riverside Tech systems, then disappeared into cryptocurrency exchanges in territories controlled by Los Hermanos criminal organization. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. He tried to dig deeper, accessing restricted financial logs, but the data mysteriously vanished from the system as he watched. Someone was monitoring his access in real time, scrubbing evidence as he found it. This wasn't a glitch. This was deliberate. Over the next 3 weeks, Marcus used his security clearance to map the entire operation. 23 shell companies receiving massive payments, 12 million monthly flowing through fake vendor accounts that existed only on paper. Federal surveillance requests for specific accounts, but only the small ones, never the major players moving the real money. Internal security memos about acceptable transaction anomalies that made Marcus's skin crawl. Someone inside Riverside Tech was not only aware of the financial crimes operation, but actively protecting it. The criminal organization wasn't just using Riverside Tech for financial crimes. They owned pieces of it. Marcus started small, testing the system's vulnerabilities. He rerouted $500 from his own paycheck through one of the suspicious vendor accounts. The money processed perfectly, appearing legitimate in all audit trails. The system was bulletproof, elegant, sophisticated, and completely undetectable to conventional monitoring. That's when he made his fatal mistake. He got curious about how deep the rabbit hole really went. Marcus created a larger test transaction, moving $8,000 from a criminal organization account to his personal wallet. He used a complex routing scheme through 3 different payment processors, making it look like a routine system glitch. For 6 hours, it worked perfectly. The money transferred seamlessly, leaving no traces in any audit logs. Then Riverside Tech's automated fraud detection system flagged the transaction for manual review. Marcus had until his shift started to make the transaction disappear. He worked frantically, rewriting audit logs, creating fake error reports, and manufacturing evidence of a legitimate system malfunction. He barely cleared the flags before security analysts arrived for their morning review. He thought he was safe. He thought nobody had noticed. But Federal Agent Sarah Chen was already making phone calls. "We're seeing unusual activity in your payment systems," Agent Chen told Riverside Tech Security the next morning. "Someone with high-level access is testing your vulnerabilities. We need to know who has the technical capability to manipulate your financial protocols." Marcus didn't know about the call. He was at home making breakfast for Diego and Carlos, his 8-year-old twins. They were supposed to spend the week with their mom, but Maria had canceled last minute, something about a work emergency. "Daddy, can we go to the water park today?" Diego asked, syrup dripping from his fork. "Maybe this weekend, buddy. Daddy has to work late this week." "You always work late," Carlos complained. "Mom says you care more about computers than us." Marcus felt a stab of guilt. The divorce had been ugly, and Maria never missed a chance to remind the boys that their father was more comfortable with algorithms than emotions. But he had to work. The child support payments alone consumed half his salary. Marcus dropped the boys at daycare and drove to Riverside Tech, unaware that federal agents were already reviewing his access logs, looking for anyone with the technical skills to manipulate their financial systems. He needed to be more careful. If the criminal organization discovered someone was stealing from their operation, people disappeared. Permanently. Marcus had seen enough classified intelligence reports during his Army days to know how these organizations dealt with thieves. Marcus spent the next week designing a more sophisticated system. He created 15 fake maintenance accounts that could move money during routine audits, programming automatic log deletion that activated 72 hours after each theft, leaving no permanent traces, building cryptocurrency mixing algorithms that could hide money trails across 12 different countries. He tested his new system with a $45,000 theft, routing the money through his fake maintenance systems over a 3-day period. The theft appeared in Riverside Tech's logs as a database synchronization error, the exact kind of glitch that happened legitimately twice per month when servers were updated. Nobody noticed. The money vanished into the digital ether, completely untraceable. That Friday, Federal Agent Williams visited Riverside Tech's headquarters. Marcus was working at his terminal when he overheard Williams talking to Security Chief Tony Vasquez in the break room. "Someone's testing your systems," Williams said, his voice carrying through the thin walls. "We think it's connected to the criminal organization investigation. This person has intimate knowledge of your financial protocols. They know exactly how to manipulate transactions without triggering alerts." Marcus's hands shook as he pretended to review code. They were getting close. Too close. That night, his phone rang. Unknown number. Marcus hesitated, then answered. "Hello? Daddy?" Carlos's voice, terrified and small. Marcus's blood froze. "Carlos? Where are you?" "We're scared, Daddy. The bad men took us when we were walking to school. They have weapons and they smell funny and they say you have to help them or we'll never see you again." The line went dead. Marcus immediately called Maria. "They're with you, right? Please tell me they're with you." "What? No, they're supposed to be at school." "Marcus, what's going on? You're scaring me." A burner phone on his kitchen counter started ringing. Marcus stared at it for 3 rings before picking up with trembling hands. "Your boys are safe for now," a distorted voice said, electronically modified to be unrecognizable. "We know you found our money in Riverside Tech systems. We know you've been testing our security. We've been watching you, Marcus Rivera, Senior Systems Architect, employee ID number 47,291. Marcus felt his knees buckle. They knew everything. "Here's what's going to happen," the voice continued. "You're going to steal $10 million from our accounts over the next 10 weeks. $1 million per week, transferred exactly as we specify. Miss a deadline, and your sons disappear forever." "I don't understand," Marcus stammered. "Why would you want me to steal from you?" "Because we need someone to take the fall when the FBI closes in. You're perfect. Inside access, financial troubles, military background that makes you look like a rogue operative. The perfect patsy. When this is over, Marcus Rivera will be the mastermind who stole millions from America's most wanted criminals. And we'll be the victims." Marcus felt the room spinning. "My sons will live if you cooperate. Die if you don't. Start with 500,000 this week. Prove you can handle the big numbers. We'll be watching every keystroke." The line went dead. Marcus stared at the burner phone, his world collapsing around him. The criminal organization hadn't just been using Riverside tech for financial crimes. They'd been preparing for this moment when they'd need someone to throw to the federal agents. A scapegoat who could take the blame for years of organized crime, and they'd chosen him perfectly. Marcus spent the weekend learning how to become a criminal. He studied the organization's financial crimes operation with the same methodical precision he'd once used for legitimate system architecture, mapping every transaction, every shell company, every digital pathway they used to clean their illegal money. The scope was staggering. $180 million laundered over 3 years through 47 different shell companies. The fake vendor accounts were masterfully crafted, complete with business licenses, tax identification numbers, and fabricated transaction histories that would pass casual inspection. But there were inconsistencies that revealed the deeper conspiracy. FBI surveillance requests that always seemed to miss the biggest players. Internal Amazon security memos about acceptable transaction anomalies that should have triggered investigations but didn't. Evidence that some federal agents weren't just failing to catch the money laundering operation. They were actively protecting it. The corruption went all the way to the top. Marcus designed his first real heist. $500,000 over 3 nights, each transaction carefully crafted to appear legitimate. Night 1, $150,000 routed through Global Electronics Wholesale during scheduled system maintenance. The transaction would appear as payment for bulk smartphone orders that were allegedly delayed in shipping. Night 2, $200,000 stolen using fabricated emergency supplier payment protocols. Marcus created fake documentation showing Amazon owed money to Pacific Trade Solutions for expedited server equipment. Night 3, $150,000 taken through cryptocurrency exchanges disguised as Amazon Web Services infrastructure fees. The money would be converted to Bitcoin and routed through mixing services in 12 different countries. The plan was bulletproof. Marcus had built the system. He knew every vulnerability, every blind spot, every way to make theft look like legitimate business operations. But Agent Chen was watching more carefully than he realized. Tuesday night, during Marcus's second theft, Agent Chen ran an unscheduled security scan of Amazon's financial systems. Marcus had 90 seconds to hide his activities before she discovered him accessing cartel accounts. Marcus triggered a fake system crash that required 4 hours to repair. While technicians scrambled to fix the manufactured emergency, Marcus completed his theft in the chaos, transferring the $200,000 through emergency protocols that bypass normal security monitoring. Someone inside your company is stealing from Los Hermanos cartel, Agent Williams told Amazon Security the following week. Marcus was in the server room, pretending to run diagnostics, when he overheard the conversation through the ventilation system. This person has intimate knowledge of your systems and FBI procedures. They know exactly when we monitor transactions and how to avoid detection. We think it's an inside job. Someone with architect-level access who's been planning this for months. Marcus realized Williams wasn't just investigating the cartel operation. The way he spoke, the details he knew about Amazon's internal security, Williams was protecting the money laundering scheme. Maria called that night, panic in her voice. The boys haven't answered their phones in over a month. I've been to the school. I've called their friends' parents. Nobody's seen them. Marcus, I'm filing a missing persons report tomorrow. Marcus had to act fast. He hacked into police databases and created false reports showing Diego and Carlos were staying with relatives in Portland. He manufactured phone records and social media posts that would convince investigators the boys were safe. The cartel had thought of everything, but they hadn't counted on Marcus's military intelligence training. The burner phone rang again at midnight. Good work on the $500,000, the distorted voice said. We monitored every transaction. Very clean, very professional. Next week we want $2 million. Time to prove you're worth keeping alive. $2 million in a single week was exponentially more dangerous than anything Marcus had attempted before. A theft that large would trigger multiple security systems and require sustained access to Amazon's most protected financial protocols. Marcus spent 72 hours designing the most complex financial crime in Amazon's history. He would need to disable FBI monitoring systems, create dozens of fake transactions, and convert the stolen money through international cryptocurrency networks, all while maintaining his normal work schedule and avoiding suspicion. Phase 1. Disable FBI monitoring for exactly 4 hours during a scheduled emergency maintenance window. Phase 2. route 2 million through 47 different transactions disguised as legitimate vendor payments, each one small enough to avoid triggering manual review. Phase 3. Convert stolen funds through cryptocurrency exchanges in 12 countries using mixing services that would make the money mathematically impossible to trace. Phase 4. Clean all evidence using custom deletion algorithms that would overwrite server logs and create false audit trails showing routine system maintenance. Marcus installed hardware keyloggers on FBI surveillance equipment during his legitimate security updates. He created fake system alerts that would distract Amazon's security team during the theft. He programmed automatic backdoor installation on any computer that tried to investigate his activities. Most importantly, he built a dead man switch. If he was killed or arrested before completing the cartel's demands, everything would be automatically uploaded to news organizations worldwide. Monday night, 11:47 p.m., Marcus initiated the most daring theft of his life. 11:47, FBI monitoring blackout activated using a fake critical security update that would take their systems offline for maintenance. 11:52, $2 million beginning to route through Amazon's vendor payment systems, split into 47 separate transactions that individually appeared routine. 12:15 a.m., FBI systems automatically reboot, giving Marcus exactly 23 more minutes before their monitoring resumed. 12:31, money conversion and evidence cleanup complete, $2 million stolen and laundered in 44 minutes. Perfect execution, completely untraceable, invisible to all monitoring systems. But Agent Chen had arrived 20 minutes early from a canceled meeting. Marcus saw her car in the parking lot through the server room window. She was heading straight for the building, and if she ran her security diagnostics now, she'd discover everything. Marcus had 60 seconds to hide $2 million in active theft. He triggered the building's fire alarm system, forcing a complete evacuation while he finished the final transfers. Chen and the security team had to clear the building, giving Marcus precious minutes to complete the money conversion and clean the evidence. The theft worked flawlessly. $2 million stolen and converted in 43 minutes. Zero traces in any Amazon or FBI system. The money had vanished into the digital underground, bouncing through cryptocurrency exchanges across 3 continents. The cartel was impressed. "Excellent work," the distorted voice said the next night. "But we're accelerating the timeline. Agent Chen is getting too close to our operation. We need the final 7.8 million in 2 weeks, all at once. One massive transfer that clears out everything and gives the FBI their perfect suspect." "That's impossible," Marcus protested. "A transfer that large will trigger every security system Amazon has. It'll bring the entire FBI task force down on us." "You built the system, Marcus. You know how to break it. 2 weeks, 7.8 million. Or your boys die slowly and we send you the videos." Marcus realized the cartel's real plan. They weren't just using him as a money launderer. They were setting him up to take the fall for years of FBI corruption and cartel protection. When the dust settled, Marcus Rivera would be the mastermind who stole millions from law enforcement's most wanted criminals. The corrupt agents would look like heroes who finally caught their man. The perfect crime, with Marcus as the perfect patsy. Marcus broke into FBI communications using backdoors he'd installed during his security work. What he discovered made his blood run cold. Agent Williams wasn't just protecting the cartel, he was actively helping them use Amazon for money laundering, and he'd been doing it for 3 years. 8 other FBI agents were on the cartel payroll, receiving monthly payments of $200,000 each to protect the money laundering operation. They'd been feeding intelligence to Los Hermanos, warning them about raids, eliminating witnesses, and ensuring that legitimate investigations never got close to the real money. Agent Chen was the threat they were trying to eliminate. She'd been running an unauthorized investigation into FBI corruption, and she was getting close to exposing the entire network. Marcus found encrypted communications between Williams and cartel leadership, discussing plans to kill Chen in a fake cartel attack. They were going to make it look like she'd gotten too close to Los Hermanos and paid the ultimate price. Her death would eliminate the investigation and reinforce the fiction that the FBI was fighting the cartels instead of working with them. Marcus faced an impossible choice: save his sons by completing the theft, or save Agent Chen by exposing the corruption. Either way, people would die. He decided to try to save everyone. Marcus spent 72 hours building the most sophisticated financial crime system ever created. multi-layered theft protocols that could process $7.8 million in under 10 minutes, simultaneous evidence release systems that would upload FBI corruption files to 47 different news organizations and law enforcement agencies, real-time communication protocols to coordinate with Agent Chen without alerting the corrupt agents monitoring her, emergency extraction protocols for himself and his sons. But Agent Williams was watching Marcus too. He planted fabricated evidence suggesting Marcus was planning to attack the Amazon facility with explosives. SWAT teams prepared to raid Marcus's apartment, and federal prosecutors began drafting terrorism charges. The timeline accelerated beyond Marcus's control. He had to execute the final heist 48 hours early, before Williams could arrest him and eliminate the evidence of FBI corruption. The burner phone rang one last time. "Your sons will be executed at midnight Friday if you don't complete the transfer by 11 p.m. Thursday," the distorted voice said. "Agent Chen dies at the same time. We know she's been investigating our FBI assets. Choose wisely, Marcus. Save your boys or save the federal agent. You can't have both." Thursday, 6 p.m., Marcus activated his master plan. He triggered an emergency system upgrade affecting all of Amazon's West Coast operations, creating the perfect cover for massive financial transfers. FBI monitoring systems went dark using Williams's own security protocols, which Marcus had stolen weeks earlier. He initiated contact with Agent Chen using coded messages sent through Amazon's internal communication systems. Time to execute the largest single financial crime in corporate history. Marcus arrived at Amazon at 9 p.m., using his legitimate access to enter the building. The facility was nearly empty, just a skeleton crew of security guards and maintenance workers. Perfect conditions for what he had to do. Thursday, 9:47 p.m., Marcus started the ultimate theft. 9:47, complete system lockdown using his architect-level access codes. Every Amazon financial system on the West Coast now responded only to his commands. 9:51, $7.8 million beginning to route through 127 different fake vendor accounts, each transaction disguised as routine business payments. 9:58, FBI monitoring systems crashed due to viruses Marcus had embedded months earlier. Federal agents watching Amazon's financial activity were now blind. 10:04, money conversion accelerating through cryptocurrency networks in 23 countries, using mixing algorithms that would make the funds impossible to trace. While executing the theft, Marcus ran multiple parallel operations. He uploaded complete files documenting FBI corruption to 47 news organizations across the globe. He sent detailed cartel operation intelligence to Mexican federal police and Interpol. He provided Agent Chen with GPS coordinates for the safe house where Diego and Carlos were being held. He activated dead man switches that would expose everything if he was killed before completing the mission. At 10:12, Agent Williams arrived at Amazon with a full SWAT team, planning to arrest Marcus and eliminate all evidence of FBI corruption. Marcus had to complete the final $2.1 million transfer while federal agents stormed the building. Marcus triggered building lockdown protocols he'd programmed years earlier, trapping the corrupt agents in the lobby while he finished the theft from the secure server room. Emergency blast doors sealed automatically, giving him precious minutes to complete the money conversion. Marcus's theft system operated with mathematical precision. Money routed through Amazon's systems faster than any monitoring technology could detect. Each transaction appeared completely legitimate in all databases. Cryptocurrency conversion happened automatically across global exchanges, with the stolen funds bouncing through mixing services in dozens of countries. Agent Chen received Marcus's coded message and realized he was trying to save her life while exposing the corruption network. She coordinated with the few clean FBI agents she trusted, moving to arrest Williams and his team before they could eliminate the evidence. Los Hermanos cartel leadership realized Marcus was stealing their money instead of just moving it to different accounts. They ordered immediate execution of Diego and Carlos, but Marcus had already transmitted their location to Chen's strike team. At 10:16, Security Chief Tony Vasquez discovered Marcus in the server room with 3 minutes left on the final transfer. Instead of stopping him, Tony revealed he'd been working undercover for Agent Chen, helping to gather evidence of the FBI corruption. "I've been watching you for weeks," Tony said, helping Marcus complete the final transactions. "Chen suspected someone inside Amazon was being coerced. We've been building a case against Williams and his team. $7.8 million stolen and converted in 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Zero traces left in any Amazon or FBI systems. Complete evidence packages delivered to authorities simultaneously across 3 continents. Marcus triggered his final protocol, a complete confession broadcast to every major news organization in America, explaining exactly how he'd exposed the largest law enforcement corruption case in U.S. history. FBI strike teams led by Agent Chen rescued Diego and Carlos from the cartel's safe house using coordinates Marcus had provided. The boys were traumatized but alive, and they were finally safe. As Marcus completed the final keystroke, Agent Williams broke through the server room door with his weapon drawn. "You've destroyed everything, you stupid bastard," Williams screamed. "Do you have any idea what you've just done? You've destroyed a $50 million operation and killed federal agents who were just trying to make a living." Marcus turned to face Williams, showing him the evidence scrolling across his screen. "I know you've been working with Los Hermanos for 3 years. I know you ordered my sons kidnapped. I know you plan to kill Agent Chen. It's over, Williams." "The cartel pays better than the FBI," Williams said, his weapon trained on Marcus's chest. "Chen was going to expose everything. Your sons were just leverage. Nothing personal. But now you've made it personal." Agent Chen and her team of clean federal agents burst into the server room, weapons drawn on Williams. "Drop your weapon, Williams," Chen commanded. "We have everything. The bank records, the cartel communications, the murder contracts. It's over." Marcus played his final card. "I didn't just steal the money, Williams. I documented every transaction, every communication, every corrupt payment you've received for 3 years. The evidence is already uploaded to servers in 12 countries. Kill me, and it all goes public automatically." Williams's face twisted with rage as he realized the trap. "Los Hermanos has been using Amazon for 5 years. We protected them. They paid us $2 million annually. Your little stunt just cost us a $50 million operation and put targets on all our backs." Under intense pressure, with his weapons surrounded by federal agents, Williams began confessing to save his own life. He admitted to orchestrating Marcus's son's kidnapping, to corrupting 8 other FBI agents, to protecting cartel money laundering operations, to planning Agent Chen's assassination. Clean FBI agents arrested Williams and his entire corrupt team. Evidence Marcus had provided led to immediate federal charges of racketeering, murder, conspiracy, and treason. Marcus's evidence release created the biggest law enforcement scandal in American history. Within hours, every major news network was broadcasting the story. FBI agents helped cartels launder $500 million through Amazon. Father steals millions to expose federal corruption. The whistleblower who broke the cartel FBI connection. The investigation expanded globally. 23 FBI agents arrested on corruption charges. $200 million in cartel assets frozen across 15 countries. Amazon implemented emergency anti-laundering protocols industry-wide. Mexican federal police launched the largest cartel raids in their history. The Justice Department faced an unprecedented legal dilemma: prosecute the whistleblower who had exposed massive corruption, or grant immunity to encourage future exposures of federal crime. Agent Chen testified before Congress. Marcus Rivera risked everything to expose corruption that went to the highest levels of federal law enforcement. His evidence saved countless lives and restored integrity to the Bureau. Prosecuting him would send exactly the wrong message to future whistleblowers. Diego and Carlos underwent extensive therapy for kidnapping trauma, but Marcus's actions had saved them from far worse. The boys struggled with nightmares and separation anxiety, but they were alive and safe. "Daddy did something very dangerous to save us," Diego told reporters outside the courthouse. "He's our hero, even if he had to break rules to do it." Emergency congressional hearings were scheduled. The FBI director was forced to resign in disgrace. New oversight protocols were implemented for all federal financial investigations. Whistleblower protection laws were strengthened, with Marcus's case as the primary example. Technology companies were required by law to implement sophisticated anti-laundering systems. Marcus's algorithms continued finding evidence of corruption. His systems discovered $47 million in additional laundered money. 156 shell companies were identified and shut down. Cartel operations in 12 states were disrupted using intelligence Marcus had gathered. Agent Williams and 22 corrupt federal agents received life sentences without possibility of parole. Marcus testified as the star witness, his evidence leading to the largest FBI corruption conviction in American history. The transformation was swift and comprehensive. Within 6 months of Marcus's arrest, Los Hermanos cartel was completely dismantled. $500 million in criminal assets were recovered and distributed to victims. Amazon implemented Marcus's anti-laundering protocols across their entire global operation. The FBI created an independent internal affairs division to prevent future corruption. Diego and Carlos started therapy and enrolled in new schools under witness protection. Maria reconciled with Marcus. "You saved our boys and exposed the truth. That's all that matters to me now." The federal judge delivered an unprecedented ruling. While Mr. Rivera clearly violated federal money laundering statutes, his actions exposed corruption that threatened the integrity of American justice itself. This court sentences him to time served plus 5 years probation with community service. Marcus became an FBI consultant, earning $200,000 annually, teaching his detection methods to law enforcement agencies worldwide. His Rivera protocols prevented an estimated $10 billion in financial crime annually and became the global standard for detecting money laundering. Agent Chen was promoted to head the reformed Financial Crimes Unit. Tony Vasquez became Director of Corporate Security Cooperation between private companies and federal law enforcement. Both credited Marcus with saving American law enforcement's integrity. The final statistics were staggering. 23 corrupt FBI agents imprisoned for life. $2.3 billion in criminal assets recovered using Marcus's methods. 1,247 money laundering operations shut down globally. 0 successful FBI corruption cases since the reforms were implemented. 2 years later, Marcus was watching Diego and Carlos play soccer at their new school in witness protection. His phone buzzed with a message from Agent Chen. "New case needs your expertise. Ready to save more lives?" Marcus smiled and typed back, "Always." Marcus Rivera became known as the man who stole millions to save his sons and American justice. His case proved that sometimes breaking the law is the only way to restore it. When good people are forced to break bad laws to expose greater crimes, justice finds a way to reward courage over compliance. But there was one final twist Marcus never saw coming. 5 years after his case had transformed American law enforcement, he received a package with no return address. Inside was a handwritten letter from Agent Williams, writing from his maximum security federal prison cell. "You think you won, Rivera, but Los Hermanos was just one cartel out of 12 operating the same system. Your algorithms found our operation, but they're already building new ones. The corruption you exposed was just the surface layer. The real network goes all the way to Washington, to senators and cabinet members you'll never touch. They let you win because taking down our operation was always part of their plan. They needed a scapegoat, and they needed to clean house. Congratulations, Marcus. You're not a hero. You're still their patsy, and you don't even know it." Marcus stared at the letter for a long time, then walked to his computer and began running his detection algorithms against new targets. The fight was far from over, and maybe it never would be. So what do you think? Do you believe people were more honest in the past, or has corruption always existed at these levels? Hit subscribe if you think people used to have stronger moral principles, and smash that like button if this story shocked you as much as it shocked me. And here's my question for you. If you were in Marcus's position, with your children's lives on the line, and knowing the FBI was corrupt, would you have done the same thing? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next incredible true crime case.